What's up YouTube, it's Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and I'm back again with some more Modern. This week, we're going to be playing it safe. Due to the impending ban announcement that has already passed by the time you're watching this, I didn't really want to play anything too out there. With that in mind, I present to you Mono Green Tron. This is a deck that is loved by many and hated by even more, so let's break down the list. As far as Mono Green Tron goes, there are two schools of thought, your classic Boomer Tron, for lack of a better word, and your newer Toolbox version of the deck. For me personally, I like the old school. The threats feel more powerful, the added flex slots allow us to hedge against certain strategies, and the sideboard becomes way less restricted. Because of this, the core of the deck really doesn't change all that much. We've got the classic suite of threats that include Wurmcoil Engine, Karn Liberated, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Out of these four cards, I especially like Wurmcoil Engine right now. Its ability to gum up the board while gaining tons of life is not to be underestimated. Things don't always go as we plan, however, so let's talk about the support cards that keep us in the game. We're running a full playset of Relic of Progenitus, 2 copies of Warping Wail, 3 Oblivion Stones, and a singleton Walking Ballista. Some may do a double take at hearing Walking Ballista being called a support card. After all, it can win games pretty easily, but I really like its ability to clear up the board in a more surgical sort of way than, say, Oblivion Stone. Then there's Relic of Progenitus, that absolutely demolishes decks in the format that carelessly depend on their graveyard to win games. This card has very little opportunity cost, and it does so much work it's almost shocking. All in all, Mono Green Tron is a tried and true deck that demands respect, even if people don't enjoy facing it. So let's not waste any time here and head straight into the first match. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent. Best of luck to you, my friend. And this hand is not great. Let's try it again. This one isn't fantastic, but we'll give it a shot. Shipping a relic. I only just realized, but are we playing against the Amaz? If memory serves, he's a very popular Hearthstone streamer. Wow, if this is really him, the pressure's on. They get things started with an untapped Steam Vents into a DRC. Then we see a Mishra's Bauble, binning a Lightning Bolt. They crack it straight away, and that appears to be it. Not gonna call that the MTGO bug, but we redraw a relic. Let's play the tower. Then we'll cast one of them. Honestly, having a couple of relics is going to be incredible in this matchup. Let's activate it straight away, and then we'll pass. On their next turn, they untap, play an island, and cast an Expressive Iteration, binning a DRC. As they move on to attacks, they'll hit us for 1, taking our life total down to 19. Keeping this DRC at 1 power is going to be a huge priority. There's a Wurmcoil Engine. Let's play our Forest, then cast the Scrying, finding another Tron piece. Now we'll activate the Relic to keep them at 2 card types. I'm not sure this will be enough to keep their DRC down in the short term, but I'm confident in our long-term ability to manage the graveyard. Second verse, same as the first, as they cast an Expressive Iteration, binning another DRC, then they play a Steam Vents and cast a Ragavan. We might have to focus our removal on that guy. Attacking us for 1, we're at 18. There's the third Tron piece, that's phenomenal. Let's play one of them. Then we'll cast Relic number 2, tapping both of them straight away. Then we'll exile the Ragavan, and I think we're good. This time around, they dash out a Ragavan, then attack us with a team, taking our life total down to 15 and exiling a land. Here comes an island. Then they cast a Consider. Not entirely sure why they waited for that one. We draw Scrying. Let's play our land, then we'll activate the relics. This might be wrong, but I want to jam the Wurmcoil Engine as soon as possible. This is a situation where using Karn as bait can work wonderfully, but I'm concerned about waiting. Shockingly enough, it resolves. We could use the remaining mana to cash in a relic. With that said, I'm not so sure we need to. On our end step, they Lightning Bolt our face, we're at 12. Then they play a Flooded Strand and hardcast a Ragavan, choosing not to dash. That appears to be it, so let's crack the relic. They do have more than enough mana to get out a Murktide Regent with minimal exiles, so this is mostly about minimizing card types in the yard. Drawing a Forest, then an O-Stone. Let's play it, then we'll swing in. We're doing this to ensure that they can't burn us out. Normally I'd just hang back, but getting in some lifelink while they can't easily answer the Wurmcoil Engine is essential. We drain them for 6, then we'll cast the Karn. I'm a bit dumbfounded here, but it resolves. Time to go upstairs. Ooh, and they were holding onto a Spell Pierce. During our end step, they crack their fetch for a Steam Vents. Then they cast an Archmage's Charm on the following turn, and I guess that's it. Nice. So I'm kind of just improvising this one, but I think that prioritizing sustain and maintaining a good board presence is likely the key to victory. With that in mind, let's cut the 2 Ulamogs and unfortunately 3 copies of Karn. That allows us to bring in 3 Thragtusks and 2 copies of Dismember. We could bring in the Veils and maybe a few others, but this should be fine. Well, this hand seems promising. showing no real threats to speak of, but I love the mana situation. They get things rolling with a Sparbluff Canal into a Ragavan. We draw Warping Wail, excellent. Let's play Tron piece number 1 and cast a Sphere. Before anything else, they attack us for 2, taking us down to 18 and exiling an Expedition map. They play another Sparbluff Canal. Ooh, then they cast a Prismari command, creating a treasure token and destroying the Sphere, which they use straight away for the Expedition map. That's not what I expected, but that's fine. We draw Thragtusk. Let's play a Mine, then we'll exile the Ragavan. So long as we're able to continue to keep them from applying pressure, then I think we're good. Up next, we see a Flooded Strand and nothing else. Drawing a Relic, amazing. Since they have all this mana, we're gonna have to get creative, so before anything else, let's play a Forest. Then we'll cast the Scrying. If this resolves, we get Tron, and that's exactly why I expect them to counter it. Indeed they do. A Spell Pierce here would be a nightmare, but let's just cast the Relic, and it resolves. Nice. Might as well tap it. In response, they crack their fetch, getting an island. Then they play another one, choosing to pass yet again. We draw Sphere. Let's play and crack it, getting a green. Wurmcoil Engine is really good, but we're light on mana for now. In the meantime, we'll cast the Ancient Stirrings. Let's grab a land, then we'll tap the Relic and send it back. During our end step, they crack the Expedition map, getting a fetch, which they play, continuing to maintain a passive role. I have to assume this is some kind of double counter plus removal situation. If that's the case, this is going to be a long game. We see a Karn. Let's tap the Relic to exile the command. Then we'll cast the Thragtusk. Oh man, and they flash out a Subtlety. Gotta be honest, you see this elemental so rarely that you almost forget it exists. Good play though. On our end step, they crack their fetch for a basic. Here comes a Consider. Then they attack us for 3, taking our life total down to 15. We redraw the Thragtusk. Let's tap the Relic, then we'll cast it. Surprisingly enough, it resolves. That almost makes me more concerned than anything else. Before untapping, they cast a Lightning Bolt, make that 2. This is a bad sign, a really bad sign. I have to guess that this means they have zero intention of fighting on the ground, and that can only mean Murktide Regent. They untap and play an Expressive Iteration, then they jam another fetch and cast the Murktide. That's a staggering 7/7, attacking us in the air. We're at 11. We draw an Expedition map, might as well play it, then we'll crack it for a tower. That'll be our land for turn. This is the ultimate shot in the dark, but we'll cast the Karn. It resolves, then we'll downtick, targeting their Regent, and now I guess it's a race. We'll swing in for 5 as they crack their fetch for Steam Vents. That leaves them at 12. One great thing about this Karn is that it represents a quantifiable amount of life gain, because if ignored, it'll take out another one of their creatures. As is tradition, they cast an Expressive Iteration. Then we see a DRC. That's hardly an issue. Here comes the attack. As expected, they hit the Karn. Ooh, nice. We drew a copy of Walking Ballista. Let's tap the Relic, then we'll bait out the interaction with our Wurmcoil Engine. It resolves almost immediately, as does the Ballista. This might be a bit hasty, but we're going to remove a counter straight away so we can deal with their DRC. In response, they cast an Archmage's Charm. Whoa, that's kind of insane, actually. The DRC dies, so I guess we just attack with a Thragtusk and see what they're planning. Letting the Wurmcoil happen just doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't have it any other way, as they start things off with an Expressive Iteration. Then we see a Mishra's Bauble, which they crack immediately. Then they play and crack a Scalding Tarn. So before this gets too out of hand, I think it's time to cash in the Relic. You can even argue that we waited too long. Either way, everything is exiled. They get an untapped Steam Vents and cast another Expressive Iteration. And just like before, they play and crack a Bauble. After which, they Lightning Bolt the Walking Ballista. I guess that makes sense. In response, we'll hit them for 1. On our upkeep, they draw 2 cards. Then we see a Dismember, and I guess they've had enough. GG's, man. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent. Best of luck to you, my friend. And this hand is pretty bad, so let's try it again. This isn't much better. Ooh, now this one I'll keep every time. Shipping the Sanctum and the O-Stone. They get things started with a Concealed Courtyard into a Thoughtseize, so this is either Griefblade or Hammer Time. There goes the Expedition map. Then they cast a Memnite. I guess that answers that. We draw a Sphere. Let's play a Tron piece, then cast the Star. Up next, they play an Inkmoth Nexus. Things are coming together for them as they cast a Stoneforge Mystic, tutoring for a Hammer. If nothing else, this deck is wildly consistent. They attack us for 1, taking us down to 19, and they send it back. Guess we can't really complain as we draw the 3rd piece. Before anything else, let's crack the Star. There's an Expedition map, might as well cast it. Then we'll jam Tron piece number 2 and cast the Sphere as well. They jam another Courtyard, then cast a copy of Sigarda's Aid. Not super happy about that one. Either way, they swing in with the team. Before damage, they flash out a Hammer. That'll equip itself to the Stoneforge thanks to their Sigarda's Aid. Aid. Then they flash out a Shadow Spear, equipping to the same target. They're at 30 and we're at 6. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Let's play the final piece, then we'll cast the Wurmcoil Engine, cashing in the sphere as we draw an Ancient Stirrings. Let's cast it. Not the best selection, so I guess we'll take the Relic. If the board state doesn't change, I think we just barely survive, although I could be wrong. During their main phase, they play an Urza Saga, then they cast a copy of Smith, finding a portable hole, which they cast straight away. There goes our expedition map. Interesting, they choose not to attack. Drawing an Ancient Stirrings, that's not great. Guess we'll just cast the Relic, then crack it straight away. There's a Sphere, that's one way to get colored mana. Let's go for it. Drawing a Forest. This is a pretty productive turn, all things considered. Time for an Ancient Stirrings. The Wurmcoil Engine is really tempting, but Oblivion Stone is probably the best choice. This is especially true because we have the mana to cast it this turn. This means that unless they have the win on the crackback, their board is going to be non-existent. After getting a Saga trigger, they move into combat, then throw everything sideways. Let's block the Stoneforge Mystic. Before damage, they generate a token with their Saga. That triggers their dude. And when it's all said and done, there's a 40-point life differential, but we managed to survive, which is apparently enough for them to scoop it up. Nice. Winning game 1 in this matchup almost feels essential. They have so many different ways to just win on the spot, so removal is going to be the name of the game. With that said, we're going to trim the full play set of Relics and the 2 Warping Wails. This allows us to bring in the full play set of Nature's Claims and the 2 Dismembers. There's an argument for keeping the Warping Wails and cutting some of the top end, but this should be fine for now. Okay, this hand is phenomenal. A pathway to completing Tron while also having removal to keep us alive is pretty much all I want and more. They get things started with a Concealed Courtyard into a Springleaf Drum, then they cast a Mishra's Bauble. No creatures, I'll take that. During our upkeep, they crack their Bauble, then we draw a Sphere. Let's play a Tower, then we'll cast the Expedition map. Since they have no creatures on board, we don't have to worry about removal just yet. Up next, they play an Urza Saga, then they cast a Sigarda's Aid. That's not good, but they still haven't played a creature. Oh wow, and we draw a Nature's Claim. As much as I want to hold that up, I think the move is to just play Tron Land number 2 and hope to use the map. On their main phase, their Saga triggers, then we see an Inkmoth Nexus. That's scary, but not the end of the world. Let's crack the map for the final piece, then we draw a 3rd tower, absolutely drowning in mana. Since we don't actually have any payoffs, jamming the basic forest to keep our removal situation as strong as possible feels like the move. With that said, we do have the mana to cast one of these spheres. Before their next turn, they generate a token. That's fine. Let's see if they do it again. They do not. That gives them a hammer. In response to the trigger, we'll destroy the hammer itself. I was thinking about hitting the token, but this seems better. Keeping things competitive, as they cast a Stoneforge Mystic, no doubt tutoring for another hammer. Yes, indeed. They play a land, animating the Inkmoth Nexus. Seems like they intend on winning this turn. Here comes hammer number 2. That'll resolve. In response to the trigger, we'll cast our Dismember, targeting their Inkmoth Nexus. The land dies, then they swing in with their token. That takes us down to 13. Alright, let's see what we can do here. We draw a star. Let's play the final piece, then cash in the sphere. That gets us an O-Stone. Definitely gonna cast that one. This gives us nearly complete control over this game. And it looks like they agree as they scoop it up. GG's, opponent. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent. Best of luck to you, my friend, and this hand seems good enough. We'll keep. Let's get things started with a mine, then cast our expedition map. They play an Inspiring Vantage into a Giver of Runes. Gonna have to assume this is some type of Taxes variant. Bad news for us, I guess. We draw Karn. Let's play the basic forest and continue to wait. At the very least, we have some really good and diverse payoffs. Now it's just a matter of getting the mana. Up next, they play a Sacred Foundry and cast a Stoneforge Mystic, tutoring for a Kaldra. On their end step, we'll crack the map for another Tron piece. Drawing a sphere. Let's play Tron Land number 2, then cast it, cracking it straight away. There's another mine. Time for the Ancient Stirrings, but it's a little underwhelming. Let's take the star, then we'll cast it, and send it back. Before anything else, they activate their Stoneforge to jam the Kaldra, then attack us straight away. We're at 15. There's a Ballista. Let's cash in the star, drawing a Sylvan Scrying. Excellent. Casting that will get us our 3rd Tron Land. We'll jam it. Then for the sake of setting up a future turn, let's cast a 2/2 Walking Ballista. They play a tap land, then attack with their Kaldra. We'll block, then sack the Ballista to take out their Giver. The damage is going to go through regardless though, so it doesn't make a difference. We're at 10. After the damage step, they cast a copy of Thalia. We draw Tower, let's play it, then we'll cast the Ugin, down ticking for 2. This will exile both of the white creatures, but also the Germ token as well. On the following turn, they cast an Imperial Recruiter, searching for itself, drawing a Sylvan Scrying. Think we'll just uptick the Ugin to take care of their creature, then we'll play our our land and cast the Karn, and it looks like they've had enough. Nice. So long as we avoid specific cards, this matchup is manageable, but there's a lot of silver bullets. With that in mind, we'll trim on the 2 Warping Wails and the full play set of relics. That way we can bring in 3 Thragtusks, 2 Dismembers, and a singleton copy of Nature's Claim. Not much to say about this one, so let's just see what happens. Well, this hand is beyond terrible. Let's try it again. This is much better. We'll keep and ship the Sylvan Scrying. They start things off with a cave and nothing else. We draw a Sphere. Let's go Tron land number 1 and cast an Expedition map. Up next, they play an Inspiring Vantage and cast a Thalia. Normally this card is pretty good, but I'm not afraid of it at all. Drawing a tower, let's play one of them. Not much to it, so we'll pass. They play a basic, then cast a Flicker Wisp. In response, we'll activate the map to get our 3rd piece. Attacking us for 2, we're at 18. There's another Tron land. Let's play the Power Plant, then cast a Wurmcoil Engine. This should buy us a tremendous amount of time. During their main phase, they play another Inspiring Vantage, then evoke a Solitude, exiling a Stoneforge Mystic. There goes the Wurmcoil Engine, then they swing in with a team. We're at 19 life. Second verse, same as the first, as they cast another Flicker Wisp, chaining them together. That allows the returning copy to exile one of our lands for a turn. No matter, lands are all we can draw at this point. Let's play the tower, then cast a Sphere, cracking it immediately. There's a Thragtusk, beautiful. We have just enough mana to cast it, so let's do so. We go back up to 24, and that'll be it. Not wasting any time, as they swing in with their flyers, hitting us for 6. Then they cast a Felidar Guardian. Once again, multi-blinking their Flicker Wisps with the intention of taking one of our lands. There's a Dismember. We've got all the mana in the world and nothing to spend it on. Hate to say it, but we'll just pass. They attack us once again, this time taking us down to 12, after which they add their companion to hand. Ooh, now that's nice. Walking Ballista is going to be super good. We'll play another land, then tap out for 14. This gives us a 7/7 Walking Ballista. I don't expect it to matter, but we'll start destroying some of their creatures, starting with Flicker Wisp number 1, 2, and the Thalia. Time to get aggressive. We'll attack them for 5, keeping things competitive as they play a land and cast a Solitude, targeting the Ballista. Just in case they have an Ephemerate, we'll hit the Solitude, then the rest to their face. They're at 13. Oh, wait a minute. Their last card is their companion. Whoops. They attack us for 1. We're at 11. More lands, just what I wanted. Let's swing in for 5, taking them down to 8 life. Attacking us yet again. We're at 10. Then they cast their companion, blinking the Guardian. Then once the Guardian attempts to blink Yorion, we'll hit it with a Dismember. Beautiful. Okay, now we're talking. We got an Ulamog. Let's cast it straight away. And then they scoop it up. GG's, opponent. And there you have it. Once again, Mono Green Tron shows its ability to maintain relevance even in this brave new metagame. I think if you find the right combination of support cards for whatever tournament you happen to be playing in, this deck can take you places. Speaking as someone who isn't even close to good enough at this archetype to warrant any real praise, its strength is apparent, and that is incredibly tempting. I wanted to apologize if my voice was all over the place in this video. I had a nasty bout of anxiety that made commentating rather difficult this week, so your patience means a lot. I don't mean to sound like I'm making excuses or what have you, but transparency is very important to me, and I believe that each and every one of you deserves to be respected with that transparency. If you liked my video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Interaction of any kind is incredibly helpful for my growth on this platform, so I truly appreciate it, and as always, stay safe out there and have a good one.